studies, and our main topic is about physical environment. Our subtopic is map reading and, of course, interpretation. So first, I will start by explaining what is a map. And we are saying that a map is a drawing or a sketch that represents part of the earth on either a flat surface. And of course, when you talk of map reading, this refers to the process of understanding and interpreting the signs or the features used on a map. So within a map, we have some symbols. For example, we have a symbol that, of course, can something like, let me sketch something on the board here. Something like, for example, something like that. And this is a symbol that, of course, is going to represent tea. So within the map, of course, if you have something like this, of course, we know that there is a tea plantation. But before that, I want us to talk about types of maps. Types of maps. So our number one is the sketch maps. The sketch maps. Number two, we have wall maps. Number three, we have the atlas maps. Let us explain what is a sketch map. So a sketch map, these are maps drawn to show the main features of an area. So they show the real features within an area. Then the wall maps. Number two, wall maps. The wall maps, these are large maps that are hung on a surface. For example, within the classroom, we can have wall maps. And of course, we also have the atlas maps. The atlas maps, these are drawn to scale and they are presented in an atlas. From there, you're looking at the elements of a map. What does the map contain? So the element of a map refer to the characteristics of a good map. A map should have the title. The map should have the title. A map should have the frame. The map should have the key. A map should have compass direction. Then a map should have what is known as a scale. So I'm going to explain all these elements that are found within a map. So we are going to start with the title. Now, the title, this is the heading. This is the heading of a map. What does it, of course, tell us? The title enables the map reader to know the name of an area represented by a map. For example, if I'm going to a certain area, for example, Zeki area. So this area, of course, I'm able to locate this area using the title. If you ask somebody, do you know where Zeki area is? Of course, the word Zeki area is now the name of, or the title of that area. So the title, of course, it is a heading of a map. Our number two is the key. The frame. So the frame shows the extent of the map. It is drawn around the map to separate the area represented from the information that is outside. So, if you have, for example, that is our map. That is our map. So we are referring to this now. That is now the frame. So it encloses the map within what is inside and of course what is outside. Then we have the key. The key contains a list of explanation of symbols. We have colors. We have abbreviations used on a map. Symbols are signs that represent. These are signs that represent features on a map. So an example, we are going to sketch an example of a key. So we have something like this. That shows there is T. We have something like the PS. That there is a police station. Then there is maybe CC. That is the chief's town. We have something like a quarry, which represents there is mining within that area. There are so many, of course, there are so many symbols that, of course, are within the key. So we can also use colors to represent. For example, a color like, for example, we have blue. Blue shows that is drainage. Drainage, that is water. Sometimes you can have brown. So brown, of course, it tells us about, of course, the land. And also we have green. Also we are talking of vegetation. Then abbreviations sometimes can also be used. Like for instance, we have talked of the PS. That is an abbreviation for a police station. A PP, that is police post. CC, we can talk of chief's camp. Then another thing, another element is the compass direction. Now, the compass direction, of course, this is very important within a map. It gives us the direction of 2 points. So a compass is used to show direction on the map. We have the 4 main points, that is the cardinal points. The 4 main, that is north, that is east, that is west, and that is south. So, if you are able to locate 2 different places within a map, you need to have an atlas. But of course, if I want to locate the name or the school, I'm within, for example, within the Zeki area, and I want to locate a certain school. So, of course, the school from where I'm standing, of course, maybe it is northwest or it is southeast to the position I'm standing. Another one is the scale. Now, the scale is the relationship. Scale is the relationship between the distance on the map and the actual distance on the ground. Remember that a map is just a sketch. So we are going to check the relationship between the distance on this, that is the sketch map, and the real distance on the ground. For instance, we can have a scale that shows, for example, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And our scale says 1 centimeter, or you can say represent, let's say 50 kilometers. So So we are able now to know the distance from or between two towns or between two different places. So what you're going to do, you measure using either a string or the sketch map. Then you're going to relate the same information to the scale that you're given, and of course you're able to get the distance between the 2 points. So again, types of scale, we have linear. Linear, it is shown as a line divided into equal sections with the length of each section clearly shown. Then another, we have representative fraction. So we are talking of scale, can be either linear, can be either fraction, or can be either statement. Then we move ahead now to see how we can use now symbols to read and interpret a map. So we are saying use of symbol or symbols to read and interpret a map. So of course now we have gone through that is the features. So we are going now to use the symbols to read and interpret a map. So within this, we need to have this in our mind. One, the climate of the area. The climate of the area. Number two, we need to understand the drainage and relief. Drainage and relief. We also need to understand number three, human and economic activities. Human and economic activities. Number four, we have population distribution. We have population distribution. Number five, we have agriculture. Number six, there are so many. Number six, we have urbanization. Seven, we have social activities. Number eight, we have vegetation. So we need these 8 points, of course, to read and of course to interpret the map. So for today, we are going to just check number 1, number 2, so that we can preserve the rest for our next lesson. So how do you use the climate of an area to interpret a map? So we are saying that the presence of a forest, crops, for example like coffee, tea, pyrethrum, indicates that the climate of the area is cool and wet. We also have the presence of crops like bananas, cashew nuts, coconuts, cloves, sugarcane, and cotton may indicate that the climate of that area is hot and wet. We also say that the growing of crops such as cotton and sisal indicate that the area receives high temperature and it is in the lowlands. Then last there we're saying the presence of oases, the boreholes, and scrub vegetation may indicate that the area is hot and dry. So that is our first part, that is the climate of an area. Then number 2, we want to see how we can use drainage and relief. So the drainage on a map is indicated by the presence of water features such as the swamps, rivers, borehole, and the lakes. Now, relief is the general appearance of land. The general appearance of land. Relief is determined by some things there. 1, it is determined by the height above the sea level. So we are able to understand that within this area, the lowland and the highland, of course, we can use something like rivers. The flow of a river can tell you the high and the low part of this area. So of course we look at the direction of the flow of the river. Of course most of the rivers start within the highland. So we are able to know this area is a highland and this area is a lowland, of course, using the river. Then if we have something like the boreholes, oases, we are able to say this area is a dry. It's dry, simply because, of course, the boreholes and the oases. So we are saying that we can describe relief and drainage on a map in the following ways. Now, swamp in an area indicates that the area has clay soil. So if you have a swamp within an area, it indicates that that area, the type of soil there is clay, and it is also a lowland. Then we have talked of course, boreholes and wells. We have said that the area receives low rainfall. Then another thing is about when we have permanent rivers, it indicates that the area receives high rainfall. Then if we have seasonal rivers, these are rivers that, of course, they appear when it starts raining and they disappear when the rain stops or for some time. So crops also, we have talked about crops such as tea, pyrethrum, indicate that the area is in the highlands. So these crops, of course, the coffee, the tea, the pyrethrum, definitely indicate that this area is a highland. And of course, when you talk about the altitude there is low. Then, presence of hills, mountains show that the area also is a highland. Then the presence of rivers helps to tell whether the area is high or it is low. So rivers flow from highlands towards the lowlands. Then again, still on rivers, of course, we can, of course, look at the river using, to know the direction where it's flowing. We have distributaries. We can also check where we have the main river flowing that direction. Then we have some small rivers joining. So we are able to conclude and say this river is flowing from this direction towards that direction. So for the learners, I want you to go back to your books, of course. Look for more features, look for more symbols, try to read them, try to go through, if there is questions that are given, and of course you are able to be at the right place. So our lesson, of course, today, we have talked of more of a map, and of course reading and interpreting. So for you, the learners, what I would like you to do, I will give you some few questions, of course, to do them, and of course, make sure you forward them. Thank you for listening, and of course, God bless you.